Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to extend a very warm welcome all participants to the 13th Halal Science Business Industry and Business Virtual Conference in Thailand Halal Assembly 2020 under the concept Halal Sphere and Ecologic Economic Equity Concept of Halal. My name is Nurisan Mahamat. It's my pleasure to be Master of Ceremony for today. First of all, I would like to inform you of today's program. The conference will start with the first session on the topic Digital Catalyst and Resilience of Future Halal Industry in this morning. After that, there will be a lunch break and praying for 1 hour, and then we'll start the next session in the afternoon. Of course, today is our honor to say that have an honorable guest and speakers with us today. Okay, on this occasion, I would like to start the first session on the topic Digital Catalyst and Resilience of Future Halal Industry. May I introduce moderator in this session, Assistant Professor Dr. Paradon Suripong, Assistant Director, the Halal Science Center, Chulalongkorn University, and Associate Dean on Research and Innovation at College of Arts, Media, and Technology at Chiang Mai University, Thailand. His area of expertise, media and technology, digital platforms, marketing, mobile computing, and business applications. Please welcome Assistant Professor Dr. Paradon Suripong.
Thank you, Nurisan, for introducing me. Okay, then we have very interesting topic here today. We have keynote speakers, and we have 3 presenters here and 1 video from Dr. Panat. Not to waste the time, I will bring you directly to the core of the session, which is the panelists. And the first speaker in this panel is Professor Dr. Farida Hassan, the founder of Halal Management and Science from University Technology Mara Shah Alam from Malaysia. So each speaker will have around 15 to 20 minutes for presentation, and we will have the Q&A at the end of all speaker when all speakers finish their session. Thank you, Professor Farida. You can start your session now.
Thank you very much, Assistant Professor Dr. Pradon. Allow me to share my slide on the screen. Just a minute, yeah. All right. Let me put in the first slide. Sorry about that. Okay, got that. All right. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A very good morning in Thailand. It's already afternoon in Malaysia and Singapore. My name is Farida, and I'm currently from INCA, University Technology Mara, and also the Deputy President for the World Academy Islamic Management, or known as WAIM. I would like to thank Assistant Professor Dr. Pradon for moderating our session, and also my salute to all my panelists here this morning for sharing a lot of things in marketing. We share the same background, and I also like to thank the organizing committee, especially Prof. Vinay, and also the team, Najwa, Nujmi, and Nurisa, who has been in touch with me from time to time. Now, my title for this morning is actually on toast analysis and ASEAN halal food marketing. A lot of you are very familiar with SWOT analysis, but what I would like to share is a research that my team has conducted, and we did an extension of SWOT study, and we move into toast strategies, because this is the area where we come up with a conclusion and also recommendation. Now, I changed the title quite recently, because initially I wanted to do Australia, but I feel that because ASEAN was given to Turkey yesterday, but I decided to do all the changes because I think ASEAN would be close to our heart, and I covered Africa for the Turkey halal yesterday. All right, without further ado, let's take a look at the things that I'm going to cover. If there's any Q&A from you, you can just WhatsApp me at this number or just email me at this number, all right, at the email address. And this is the outline that I'm going to share with you, which is on the purpose, the design methodology, the findings using two tools, analytical tools, and touching the research limitations as well as the practical implications or the conclusion as well as the recommendation. And then I would also highlight on the value of doing this research. Now, I would like to thank my research team, Hamizah, Gelbino, and Norain for collecting a lot of information, especially on secondary data, because unless we are being hired to conduct the perception studies and surveys, we don't mind visiting countries to countries like we did under the ministry before, in order to get more insight of the case studies that we are handling on this ASEAN region. Okay, a little bit on the introduction. The halal industry basically comprises three main sectors: food, non-food, and services. And everybody knows what's the meaning of halal, but I think I would like to highlight the key word over here in marketing. We talk about halal, we're talking about permissible food or services that if a Muslim were to consume it, then I would guarantee all the ummah, meaning any human mankind, should also consume it because it is safe, okay? But if we do not stamp the halal logo, then it is not permissible, it is not lawful. I can guarantee for you that I would be the testimony for it. If it is not safe for me, it will not be permitted for you to even be near to that kind of food or services that we are marketing. So halal haram is actually governed by the Sharia Islamic guidelines, but for those of you who like to know whether this is only applicable to the Sharia Islamic guidelines, I would like to correct that, because for those Jewish people, these are the people of the book, and also the Christians who really adopted the guidelines of food governance. They're about the same, okay, because except that the Jews, their practices are even more stricter and rigid than the Muslims' Sharia guidelines. Okay, so the world population is such, and I think by now you would understand why purposely today I would like to highlight on the ASEAN continent, because we have a big number over here, okay, and so this population is tremendous for us to take care. It's about 1.4 billion, which is bigger than the China's largest populated country in the world, as compared to many others. So secondly, followed by Africa and Europe. Now, these are the extent of the, I would say, growth of the all the beliefs of the I would say world population, and it changes from day to day, year to year. So top on the list right now is the Islam Sunni, and we also have the other group, the Shia group. Okay, so they are also Muslims, and they also practice the principles of the goodness of food and services. Yeah. So look at these. Our population are mainly concentrated over here, and we have almost 60%. And we have to really, help ourselves first, and understand the product services of halal, and then market it. And before we do that, we have to testify it first. Yeah. So okay, the Muslim population, everyone knows this. Most of the 75% and above are in the dark region here. The Indonesian, followed by, I think this is Pakistan, okay, Iran and Tehran and all that. However, one country is missing over here, which is the second most populated Muslim population, okay, which is India. And the amount of the total population over there is 185 million Muslim population over there, which is bypassed or overlooked. Okay, because number one, the population, it is not a Muslim country, but in terms of the number of population, that's one area that need a lot of marketing and also development of products and services that they need to focus. Yeah. Now, I need to highlight over here that the population is growing in the Muslim world because, and by the Muslim population, is due to the marriage institution that the Muslims believe and still practicing until today and forever until infinity. Because other religion may not practice the marriage institution as rigid or as, I would say, compulsory as the Muslim. Because of those, a lot of new social lifestyle like LGBT or cohabitation or many others, okay? So they have a new social development over there. So, but as far as Muslims concerned, it will keep on growing, the population will keep enhancing, and you have family of procreation from time to time. So it will be a strong community. So the problem statement over here that I would like to highlight using the SWOT analysis is to highlight this very common tool that everyone knows: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And it is a selected countries that I'm appointing in Asia based on the availability of the literature. Okay, if we need to do more in new countries, we need to be someone has to engage us to do the survey to understand better for that particular country, especially before you market to that country. We need to understand the culture, the social, economic, and political background of the country. So the second problem or the issues would be to look into the acceptance of Muslim countries and non-Muslim countries towards halal food, because the non-Muslim countries right now are practicing this because they have understood the value as well as the, I would say, importance of why halal food is a demand. I mean, for example, if COVID is the cause of, eating bats and all that, bats is an animal that Muslim does not eat, okay? And there are a lot of other animals that we are not supposed to eat because it does cause danger to us. So why are we exposing ourselves to danger, when we can avoid it? And finally, from the SWOT analysis, we will proceed to another level, which is known as post analysis. And you want to know how to really conduct this, you have to engage me personally and my team to help you to do it for your company. Now, the objectives over here actually are divided into four. Number one, to explore about halal food marketing in the ASEAN countries. And I would say again, selected ASEAN countries based on the literature review, because only by literature you can assure that these documentations are valid. Yeah? It is not a hearsay study. Second, we're looking into the consumer and perception of acceptance of halal food. Now, before you market anything, you have to understand the way they think, the motive why they buy, and many others. Yeah? So these are all on the consumer's behavior. Then the third is to look into the TOS analysis, and finally, I am forwarding the best marketing strategies that that my team can come up with for any marketers out there who like to adopt and market the product in these parts of the world, selected countries that we have chosen. So the scope will be such, but the limitation would be, as I've mentioned to you, not focusing on every country in Asia. And the other one, as I've mentioned, dependent on the literature review only. So this is if you open up a book known as Spread David, you'll find that this is the step that you how you conduct the SWOT analysis. But my team, we went further to look into the strategies by matching between the SWOT and come up with the TOS analysis. So one would be the internal, the other one would be the external. Now this is a wealth of information that I'm sharing with you about the ASEAN Muslim population. You can see the growth from time to time. Okay, I'm not going to go through that. Okay, now in terms of summary of literature review, I am not going through the details, but I would like to share with you only the key points over here. Like in India, you can see over here that the young consumers are particular about the cleanliness and hygiene factors while making any decision, based on a study in 2019 by Yusuf et al. In Japan, the halal component would add value to the overall food chain in Japan as far as Muslim consumers are concerned. In China, the adoption of certain Islamic food production practices could build confidence and put China on the map as a major producer, because they are the biggest in the world, in terms of labor as well as resources and many others here that they can help to market the food. Now, in the ASEAN halal market, the perception of halal product is higher in the East ASEAN as well as Middle East countries. A study based on the consumer's behavior perception by Nur Afni and the group, the halal certification is a bridge to penetrate into the global market, because having certification is a guarantee, is a promise for those countries, especially that I would say dominate as well as champion the process and accreditation. So other than that, the study also said that the product is safe and not harmful to animals, okay, and also environment. So they also touch on the green environment. So we're not only talking about to human mankind, even animals who consume it would be safe, within adopting such lifestyle. So other than that, I would like to highlight, in Malaysia, we have already adopted the SWOT analysis using as a guideline in order for us to come up with strategies, and the halal food supply chain study also make a farm to fork global supply chain models in order to understand the critical awareness of each point, without turning any stones unattended. Okay, so the acceptance of halal is due to the increasing awareness, not only on religious obligation, but it does contribute to the increasing demand for halal products and services. Typical example would be Malaysia. For the Muslims in Malaysia, they believe because of religiosity. There's no two way about it. But for the non-Muslim who live in Malaysia, they have already, from our survey, they have already denoted that halal is a guarantee or promise of cleanliness and quality of food and services. So this thing, Malaysia would be a good example to test the market before we go into other parts of the world to promote it. And the next part that I would like to highlight to you is on the Middle East and Asia, on the global corporate halal strategies. They are becoming more connected as well as unified in order to understand each other via regions. Yeah, if it is not via continents, it is via regions. Okay, in Taiwan, the government had encouraged more companies to get halal certificates, which is a good sign. And in Malaysia, the encouraging halal market potential is not only from the result of food product alone, it goes into the lifestyle like logistics, tourism, pharmaceutical, healthcare, many others, okay? So, that's done with the literature. These are the state of global Islamic economy, the top 10. You can see the same countries in practically all the aspects: finance, food, Muslim-friendly travel, modest fashion, media creation, and pharmaceutical. These are being rated not by the country, this is rated by the global Islamic economy. You can see a few countries keep on being rated highly. So that's, I would say, a strength of a brand of halal assurance there. Yeah? Okay, this is a methodology on how we do this research, and then I'll go into the findings and analysis. This is what I wanted to share with you. Most of you are very familiar with the strengths, weaknesses, approaches, and threats. It needs a lot of brainstorming in order to come up with the strategies over here. However, I'm coming up to the last 2 slides, okay, before I end up this presentation. What I wanted to share over here in conclusion is that halal executive is still needed right now, because the halal course would also expose people on new issues, because issues keep on coming in and out practically every day. that scares the public as well as the consumers. So you have to be you have to understand better, master in the halal education before you champion as well as educate others. So that in that way you can strengthen the halal branding. Other than that, it is well accepted in the Islamic lifestyle countries. More so if you are ready to provide transparency and information loaded about their products, especially labeling, the details of ingredients. There's no secret about it. There's no such thing as 50% halal or 50% haram or 70% or 90% halal. If it is halal, it is 100% halal or 1000% halal. Now, other than that, there need to be a good perception about the product that you are marketing to avoid any manipulative, excessive and deception promotion on halal product. Take note, in Malaysia itself, we had a lot of cases like Cadbury case or Gardenia bread and many others, even Spicer water, mineral water, because please remember, once the consumer have a bad perception about this product, your whole brand is a total damage. So before you make any losses, you make sure that your quality of assuring halal is consistent and forever guaranteed that it is halal. It's no fun hearing that, these people are mispracticing for the last 10 years, 20 years, how many years. They do not only believe in your brand, they do not also believe in your country that market it. So be careful on that, yeah. So you have to synchronize for the universal world. You have to synchronize the promotion ethics of doing it. Yeah, if it is wrong, it is wrong. If it's unethical, you have to claim it. Yeah. And other than that, look into the pricing strategies and to strive to introduce halal literacy to individual consumer level first, especially the young ones, because they need to be educated. And you have to be proactive in enforcing halal certificate, because without the logo that has been acknowledged or been accredited or being audited, then anybody can come up with any halal logo, like a backyard halal logo. That's very, very wrong. So create an awareness on the halal food brands, put it on the website where people can check it out right now via IT. And other than that, you can implement the laws and the acts to ensure all halal food marketers use authentic halal logo. And finally, in recommendation, please, as a marketer, you need to build and maintain the trust, and the price must be reasonable. This is not a money-making economy. Yeah? It is first a guarantee of the goodness of the products and services. The income, the revenue would just come naturally once your product is labeled as good quality. And other than that, it has to be customer friendly. Halal is meant for all. It is not for elite people or exclusive people. It has to be made applicable right now, especially via IT, user friendly. So try to fully optimize all the research centers, especially like in Halal Science Center, where Prof. Vinay himself was the Dean of the Applied Science, and later came up, for Applied Science, he do more research into halal. So this is the nucleus of it. And other than that, provide more empirical and scientific research, because people do not want to hear hearsay. Somebody says this, somebody says that. There's no citation reference. And when you become a halal consultant, be one that is really responsible and accountable. Okay, so encourage more Muslim food manufacturers or producers to strengthen the halal assurance system. Do auditing, like in Malaysia, it is twice a year. So there's no time for them to make any unethical practices, because it's too short a time before the next audit comes in. Okay, so it's not something like a showcase. When somebody comes to do an audit, you get everything well in perspective, but after 1 year you lax, because the next following year there'll be another audit, on the halal application. So improve consumer facilities from time to time. We cannot develop a single international halal standard. We have been trying to do this since 2006. But what I can assure you all is that we can work by region, because regional unified halal standard can collaborate and JV in the way they market their halal products. And finally, yes, you can establish an international halal board of advisor. Make sure in the board you have representatives, for example, like Southeast Asia, where we are strong right now. So with that, Dr. Pradom, thank you so much. But before I leave, there's just one quotation over here that says, Muslims are the majority. I'm not talking about in this country, but in Asia. So not having that as clients means that you are losing a sizable market share, like in India, about 185 million Muslims, where nobody takes care. With that, thank you and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Walaikum salam. Thank you, Professor Farida, for the very insightful research finding, and thank you for respecting the time. You are doing very good for timing.
Thank you so much.
The next presenter is Assistant Professor Dr. Panat Nontavanish. He's the lecturer in biologist at Fatoni University. Unfortunately, he cannot join us virtually with us at this time, but he prepared the slide and the video recorded for our team. So let our organizing team play his video.
Dear chairperson, honored guests, moderator, speakers, or participants, and all brother and sister, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I hope you are all safe and well during this pandemic. And welcome to Lanta Island. I'm here right now. Is my schedule stopped during my 3-week extended trip. First of all, I would like to say I'm really sorry about I'm very sorry that I cannot join you for the Zoom tomorrow, for the live presentation tomorrow, because I will have to leave from Lanta Islands tonight to another island, and by tomorrow morning I'm not really sure if I'm gonna have a decent signal or internet signal for doing so. So I prefer to record the video presentation here and today. And second thing is I have to apologize for my dress. I don't have a proper dress, proper clothes with me right now. As I told you, I'm on the extended trip, and I don't really have enough time to go out and buy any shirt or things like that. And since I have been contact from the organizer very recently, so it's not, I couldn't find anything. I'm very sorry about that. I should be more proper formal for this. And the third thing is, since I don't have anything, I didn't bring my laptops, I didn't my iPad or anything with me right now. I just have only telephone with me, mobile phone with me. So I have to work from mobile phone, and it's not, might not be a good enough presentation. However, I will try to do my best to share my knowledge with everyone. My topic is the consumer behavior due to digital marketing in 2021. Basically, so I would like to start with a couple of numbers that I found very interesting. From the second quarter to third quarter this year, the number of e-commerce was increasing e-commerce was growing about 30%, 30 to 33%. And if we looking of the e-commerce from year to year basis, from the November to December last year, comparing November to December this year, increasing which is very big number. That means people intend to shopping online more than doing person-to-person shopping, or basically going to the shopping center or to the shop to buy things, which means that online shopping is very increasing, and new audience segment is jumping in, especially the older generation is they're increasing their online activity, and older generation, that's been a person who's right around 65 years old or up to right around, like for example, like in Japan, people around 65 to 90 years old, they're starting to involve in on more online activity, especially on shoppings. Even the products that we're looking at, people prefer to buy more like hobby or personalized product. For example, like art, craft, some cooking, some foods, all those things. They prefer to buy online. This is increasing more on this area as well. And the accelerate demand for the sustainability is increasing. As we know that when the lockdown was began, the nature start to healing. People start to see a lot of good sign. The water start to clear, to be clearer, to be cleaner. We see a lot of wildlife in the park, in public roads, in everywhere. Even around my house, which we didn't live that close to the jungle or that close to the forest. We still see the wild monkey that coming out out nearby, around like only like 100 meters away, 50 meters away from my residence. So I think that is quite fascinating that we give time for nature. However, people or consumer start to like that, and they start to bring that into their life. They're starting to look at the sustainable way or to live. For example, like sustainable product, like solar light, solar power, energy, a lot of online merchants. They also bring in a lot of product, like a lot of product that's running on Facebook. For example, like solar power light bulb, very cheap, very easy to install. Just install like a little, very easy to operate, and they sell volume business is increasing a lot. It's very interesting as well, and people get to be money conscious, and they are looking things in value basis, like value basis, like when they of course they're buying things, and what you say, buying less item or listing, but they're aiming for the better quality. That means that they prefer to pay less to get a better quality merchandise out of it. And they are price sensitive. That means most likely to buy their favorite items wherever it is being offered at the lower price, or whoever offer them lower price, and they don't really focusing on brand name item that much anymore. So this means that this is creating the private label, and by a lot of demand for the private label. Interesting enough for the brand name to join in this market sector as well. So a lot of brand name, they also start coming up with their own private label selection for the customer. And also in this sector, the people also looking at the hyper local or on-demand merchandise. I think during the lockdown is create the opportunity for some of the local brand. For example, like my previous customer who's own a private brand, local brand of the coffee beans. He's selling Arabica coffee bean and Robusta coffee bean to the coffee shop. But during the pandemic, he changed his market from the coffee shop. He changed that into the private private use or basically personal use for the coffee beans. Yes, of course, he's selling on the different kind of beans for different kind of flavor or different kind of method of brewing the coffee. However, what he did was he make the product more exclusive. He make product more customized for the customer, and he make product a better control quality. And by the way, control quality, it doesn't mean that he just control in his own manufacturer or his own plant. He control the product from the beginning, from up the beginning of the product. He got the an expert who go down to each farm to select the breeder seed from each farm, and it is he go to the top. He asks his guy to select it by hand. Each breeder seed, it will be hand selected, and after that he will put in a special box, special container, and label it, and he call it the identification and passport. That means he can track every single thing that's gonna happen to this selection or this breeder seed, and then he will pass that on to the farmer to do the propagation. And then they're gonna before the farmer will start to grow the breeder seed, he will send in another team to inspect the soil to make sure that the soil is have a good quality. And the amazing thing is that I found out is he didn't use only one area or one particular area. So, he select few couple of area to plant his seed, his coffee seed, his coffee bean, and he labeled it. He recorded and put in his database, and after that, when it's harvest, the farmer will harvest and send this to the processing plant. And of course, the processing plant, he will, identification. He put in identification for each farm, for each farm's seed, where it's come from and where it's gonna be laid down, where it's gonna be watched, or how long it's going to fertilization process and everything. And after that, after it's finished, they will put in a box, another box, and they will send it to his roasting plants, where he have he create about like 200 to 300 roasting profile. So customer can choose from the roasting profile whichever they want. And as a result, customer feel like they have their own custom-made coffee beans, and is more or less like that as well. That's make customer feel really personalized coffee, or personalized cup of coffee that they made. And this create another. This is the example that I would like to show, that in year 2021, the product might have to be more concerning with the custom-made product, and the value has to be less. It have to be very easy to access. It have to be good quality, and for the producer or retailer, we have to be looking at digital marketing, because a lot of researchers agree that people behavior was changed during the pandemic, and a lot of people will keep that lifestyle. I continue that lifestyle after this until probably like 5 or 6 more years, if nothing happen again. I'm very sorry that I spend too much time. I don't have enough time to go over so many details that I prepared. But however, if you have any question, please feel free to let me know, and I will try my best to give you all the answer that I can. And again, for the last time, I hope you are very well, and please take good care of yourself and your loved one. And I hope that one day, inshallah, we will sit down and talk person to person, do a seminar, and person to person again. And I promise next time I will dress a bit more proper than this. Thank you very much for your time, and I hope to see you again. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Walaikum salam. Thank you, organizing team, for the effort for the video, and thank you, Dr. Panat. I'm not sure that you are watching your own video on the streaming. I was thinking, is that a virtual background or is it a real background? And when I see the sky getting darker, and I realized that he's really sitting on a beach. Lucky you. Okay, then we have very good speaker on the branding, and another one is for e-commerce. Then I would like to introduce Mr. Yusuf Chai. co-founder and chairman of YAP Center for Blockchain Studies from UAE. This is one of another digital catalyst for the Halal industry. The mic is for you, Mr. Yusuf. And then don't forget to turn on your microphone.
Yeah. Assalamu alaikum.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Walaikum salam. Yeah, very good.
Okay. Dear brothers and sisters and dear audience, thank you for attending this session on digital catalyst for halal industry solutions. My presentation today is on blockchain, Internet of Things, and artificial intelligence in halal food industry, some concept and experiment in China and beyond. Today, I'm speaking in the capacity as a founder and chairman of YAP Center for Blockchain Studies, which is a research institute I founded in the UAE to study and research on how smart technologies like blockchain, artificial intelligence can help us to understand and solve the issues in halal food industry, and as well as ethical and policy issues related to these solutions. So today I'm going to, I think you can share, see my screen, right? My shared PowerPoint. So
Yes.
I'm going to talk about four points. First of all is blockchain experiments. I'm going to use a startup company called Halal Chain as a case study, see how it was founded and how it was facing the difficulties and how they can overcome the difficulties. And second one, I'm just briefly outlining some IoT suggestions or experiments, especially something has done in China. Here is more conceptual. I'm going to talk about like how it can solve maybe help or assist halal food inspectors or food inspectors in general in controlling quality and safety. But there's serious ethical and conceptual issues here we need to solve before we adopt this technology. And lastly, I'm going to focus on the AI, how AI algorithms can be used to guarantee the food safety and quality. And I present you with a case study, a business proposal established between China and the UAE to establish halal food industry park in Dubai as a case study. So how this smarter technology can be used in this bilateral state corporations. So let's go to our first part is the blockchain and halal food and research application.
Dr. Yusuf, apologize me. Can you share the full screen? It's a request by the organizing team. Can you share as a full screen?
Full screen. Okay, just one
second. Thank you.
Now it's fine. Is it full screen now?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
So whenever we adopt new technologies, whether a blockchain or IoT or AI, we constantly got questioned, especially from, if you are in halal food industry or even in like academic, Islamic studies, Muslim studies, people said, oh, is it ethical? Is it, allowed to be used? First, we need to solve the issue whether it's halal or haram in adopting this technology to solve our issues. In particular, like the halal food, everybody consume. There's a 1.8 billion Muslim consumers worldwide. That actually could be more. So, as this daily consumption food, if you adopt technology in assessing its legality and its compliance with Sharia, will this technology, first you see this technology, are this involved, with legal issues? So my argument is, it has been repeated by many other scholars from Al-Azhar, from Indonesia, from UAE. They have mentioned, they said there is no contradiction between blockchain technology and Islamic finance and halal food, etc. So if you allow me to 1 minute to explain the blockchain. So this is a new technology which based on it's called decentralized data ledgers. Basically, using this technology, you are to record your data in a decentralized way, like all the computers in the network, at least 51% of the computers in the network will record the transaction happening between two users. And this transaction will be decentralized, not stored in one place. Like in traditional, we think there's a server, there's a cloud, or there's a bank which serve the data or serve the transaction. But on blockchain technology, it's spread across everyone, and it's also anonymous and secure. Like it's encrypt, so your transaction is shared or recorded, decentralized, but not but still encrypt, so it's secure. In this is basically the concept of blockchain technology. So they believe that this is a compliance with Sharia, Sharia, in that it's removed the centralized authority which may breach or breach the trust. And once the central authority collapsed, then the whole system collapsed. So this is a decentralized trust, like a decentralized trust between the believers, between the believers. So therefore, we think blockchain technology provides solutions to challenges facing the halal food industry and Islamic economy ecosystem today. So in my paper, I kind of analyzed the overview of this, which we published with our co-author, Abdullah Khan Guangyu and Professor Abdul Salam from Nigeria, in a peer-reviewed article. It's about how the halal food industry can be revolutionized actually by blockchain technology. And most important thing in this blockchain can provide user traceability. So traceability. So when we drink this, for example, this halal soup, like we simply this is a soup, but we know where this comes from. So from A to Z, from farm to fork, blockchain technology is posed to solve issues of traceability. So once you establish this ecosystem by blockchain technology, you are able to trace where's your meat come from, where's your food come from, even you can know where's this cow, this cow is his all the descriptions of this. For example, you're eating beef, where does it come from? And this from production, from processing, and from distribution, all will be using the blockchain technology to record the data and store the data and verify the data. I think one of our presenters, Professor Farida, just mentioned about this thing of a trust, whether people would trust whether your food is really halal. In particular, if you are living in a non-Muslim countries, like China. Even you live in a non-Muslim country like UAE these days, because of globalization, because of this global logistics, how you can guarantee your food is really from your trusted sources? So this is like a perennial issues in halal food industry for many, many years. Now, blockchain technology promised to solve this by trace the origins and secure the data, because once you store the data of the food processing, production, and distribution, you cannot change the data. Because if you want to change the data, 51% of the computers in the network have to agree to change the data. You cannot do. You cannot do. That's the beauty of the blockchain technology. So, however, the benefit this solution proposed by our team, it's called Halal Chain Technology, or HLC, is to provide this integrity, transparency, and trust of the food chain, which will use this technology tracking the product from source to consumer and quick deposit, position commodity branches, and detect fraud codes. And this will involve verification machines and medical devices and borderline products. All this will be achieved by digital verification with great transparency of product food on the blockchain principles. So again, I have to repeat: blockchain principles is transparency, trust, and what is we called verifiability or encrypt. So all these principles has a promise that can perfect fit to solve the halal food industry issues. So here's a kind of a model proposed by halal food, halal chain actually, halal blockchain models, taking the M2C manufacturer to consumer mode of poultry meat production. So the whole data is stored on the blockchain from the farm to the dining table, supporting the bi-directional traceability. So if you want check, for example, if you are farmer, you want to trace where your chicken go, and you can just log into this system and find out who consumed your chicken. And on the other hand, if you are a consumer and you can you want to trace who produced this this chicken on my table today. So again, you can log into the system and scan the barcode. Then you find out where is the this poultry was produced. So we are using IoT collect data to ensure that source data is true. So this is one thing often being criticized by vendors. Oh, like how can you? Yes, we trust that once the data is on blockchain on your network, it's all secure and trustworthy and transparent. But how can you guarantee when you collecting data from the source, from original, and then how that is accurate and true? So this we have to discuss, and in the second part which is IoT, Internet of Things. When you use smart sensors, you use a monitoring system, you use human labor to guarantee all the data recorded from farm, from distribution, from processing, from consumer are correct. So let me walk you through very briefly. First of all, we cultivate and breed. Here you use the RFID and sensor and reader and location radar to control machine. So all this machine will be used to collect data, for example, from chickens, from cows, from all the sources. So this is the raw material it's supposed to collect. Then these data materials will be fed into brand processing. So here we use sensor quality report and points account with NFS tags, to generate the brand. This brand corresponding to the material we just collected from the source. And once this is finished, we go to the third stage, and we store and delivery, and we use sensor NFS tags and application and GPS to locate the food. Locate the food. And sorry, there's a little bit checking. Can you see me clearly still? Yes. So at the end, to the consumer end, consumer's end. So in all these processes, you have again, it was guaranteed by this blockchain thing called smart contract. What is smart contract? Basically, it's a digital contract signed between the producers, distributors, and consumers, and it's all verified. This smart contract, including all the data mentioned above, and if one party breach this contract, and all the other parties will be notified. So that's why it's guaranteed that, oh, I sold my chicken and halas, I have nothing to do with it. No, that's not in the blockchain system. You cannot cheat. You cannot breach your protocols, your quality. Once you block, and all the whole system will be notified by this breaching. And because of this, it can greatly reduce the transaction cost, processing time, and improve the quality and safety, and improve the transparency and confidence from the consumers. So it's added value to the halal food industry, and then it can bring the benefit to all the stakeholders in the halal food industry. Let me see how it's. So if you develop, and this is how the actual app. I'm using the halal food halal chain technologies app to make the point. So first of all, for each product, each brand, you generate a unique QR will be printed on every product packaging, storing pictures and information about a particular product. Has this chicken, in this package, has all the. Once you scan the code, this information will all show on your app, and this it's including from A to Z all the information. And the beauty part is like it's all verified by blockchain technology. It's all transparent. Nobody can make a fake one and store there. It's all true. Then users can scan the QR code and instantly verify the authenticity of the product using the dedicated NDFDIC mobile application or any QR scan app. So this is NDFDIC is the industrial use one, but if you want to use the other like commonly accepted one, it's also fine. That's fine. Then upon scanning, you'll get the relevant information and you can verify it. Yeah, you can verify. So here's the blockchain. How much time I have? I hope.
So it's about to finish. Maybe you should conclude your presentation.
Okay. Give me 1 minute out. So for the smart sensors, it's like basically in the blockchain technology, we use smart sensor to collect data, about the meats, about production process. But the thing is, how smart are they? Are they can really get whatever information we need? So this is the remaining issue to be solved. And secondly, will they replace certifiers? So I posed this ethical and question that will machine and then IoT Internet of Things replace human inspection, human certifiers? Will human certifier be replaced by smart or not? So if they are going to replace, can we trust them? So this is the thing we need to be discussed. It's more like in a conceptual issue. And lastly, let me quickly walk you with AI and food security and quality. So these are two pictures of using artificial intelligence to detect whether these apples are good or bad. So using the artificial intelligence, basically you can sort, and grading the different levels of food, whether this food is like a poor quality, good quality, the best quality, whether there's an insect inside the apple, whether there's a corruption inside this. So all we're using this AI to scan it, then compare this data with the pattern already stored in the AI. So we put the like standard good apple inside the system, and once you scan it, you can compare this pattern, with the standard in the system. Then you can tell whether this apple is good or bad. So similarly, we can use it in many other, halal food sorting and inspecting. So here I proposed a few issues about how AI can be applied in halal food industry. And first, we need to have big data, global halal food big data, and then we need to establish the standard to compare halal food with the halal food with the data. Then we can grade different category, different levels of the halal food with artificial intelligence. And the case study is there's one China Arab food industrial park is proposed to establish in the UAE, in Dubai. They want to use this smart technology to solve the issues between if you're importing halal food from China, and then they propose to use this smart technology to solve the issues. Okay, thanks for your attention, and sorry for taking extra time.
Thank you very much, Dr. Yusuf. Yeah, for a very interesting about the blockchain, IoT, and AI. I think this is a very key driver for the digital catalyst for halal industry. But we have another interesting topics about the finance and money, right? Then I will introduce Ms. Hong Sin Kwek, the founder and CEO of Sin Watana crowdfunding digital platform from Singapore. Could you please share your screen and continue the session, please?
Dr. Pradhan ka
Yes.
cannot share. Some other people is using.
Okay. Right. Should be okay now.
Okay. Okay, bye.
I introduced that she's in Singapore, but she's in Thai, and her house is in Thai.
I'd like to thank everybody, particularly Prof. Unai and team, and specifically Pradhan yourself, and of course to all brothers and sisters who is participating in this whole Halal assembly, particularly focusing on science and technology. And it is my privilege and honor. My name is Hong Sin, and I've been working with Pradhan for a while. We're exploring on serving the Muslim community in terms of support for crowdfunding. And I was just doing a very quick read just yesterday about this whole entire landscape when we're looking at the total Islamic finance assets that are being estimated to be even 3.5 trillion in 2024. So when we talk about Islamic finance, particularly we are talking about a very fast-moving, fast-booming segment of the global finance, and in which we are talking about an estimation of serving more than or near to about 1.8 billion people and community. And here we're talking about not just the global finance, but we are addressing actually also ethical finance. So this whole entire conversation is growing extremely fast, and also quoting from what Dr. Farida has mentioned about the growth of the Muslim community. It's not just about the traditional growth, but also it could be also the marriages and the change of the whole entire landscape. In fact, earlier from the three speakers, particularly Prof. Farida talks about the whole landscape and change where, the key point here touch on the message on transparency, trust, friendly, equal quality, and also to be able to provide the empirical research and science to prove this whole food chain. And of course, Prof. Panat addresses, tailoring program to serve very specific needs. And of course, our dear Yusuf just mentioned about integrity and transparency. So what has it got to do with finance? It is a big conversation here. So because, if we were to look at the whole entire landscape where we talk about disparity, where we talk about the poor, and the rich, and how do actually crowdfunding comes in to serve this whole entire conversation to at least strike some kind of a balance. So take a look at, let's say, even the World Bank projection as far as crowdfunding is concerned, excluding the China crowdfunding model, we are talking about a conservative 96 billion in the world. And moving on, where we are looking at Islamic crowdfunding platform, a Sharia compliant global crowdfunding platform, UT Pratit Thai, as in that in Thailand, we have yet to have a platform like this. And that's also the reason why I've been in pursuit to with Ajahn Pradon and his team, or even the local Muslim community here, to look into how we can actually serve this whole entire conversation. So in the world, the approved Islamic platform, you can find them all over the world, particularly in Australia, Indonesia, Singapore, Malaysia. There's a whole chain of like the Iran, Libya, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Egypt, even Australia, and of course India. To no surprise, Prof. Farida mentioned about India. So all these other places that are growing tremendously and fast, they are not ignoring crowdfunding. I'm not saying that Thailand is, but rather that we're taking a little bit more time, more cautious in terms of adopting crowdfunding in the use under the conversation of Islamic crowdfunding. These are some of the global case studies where these are all I extracted all these from the Islamic platform. And, it ranges from all the way from the social aspect and into the conversation of investment, and then off to peer-to-peer money lending. And all these things are happening because of this whole context of digital transformation. Crowdfunding in Islamic finance and microfinance becomes possible and accessible. And that's what I meant by being able to give some level of balance, and also being able to cater for accessibility for the underserved, the unbankable, or even the unknown. So in the context of there is really a very distinctive trend in terms of Islamic crowdfunding that emphasizes a lot on delivering quality services, which was also emphasized by, I believe, Dr. Farida, because she brought up a lot of points that just align to the whole entire context of principle of crowdfunding. And where we talk about in the traditional finance is that, okay, when people need money, they go to the bank to seek for a loan or credit card. When people, think about setting a business, they say, how about trading some equity or services to get some funds? Or, they negotiate with a strategic partner to look for some funding. Especially those customers that like the product, they are willing to part some of the money to invest in some of these startups. Or, right now, starting a crowdfunding campaign is a norm. And we have a lot to catch up as compared to the global scene. Or join a startup or join an incubator or accelerator, or solicit a venture capital if your business is already there, or even to apply a local angel investor group, to get the angel interested in your business, or to request for small grant. In certain countries in across ASEAN or Asia, basically seeking for government grant is quite a common activity, a common act for a startup, or pitch your needs to your friends and family. And typically, this is quite common where people will seek for support from their relatives or their family. And last but not least, if your pocket is deep enough, you can fund yourself to get the business going or to support, any of the social cause. So when we touch on the subject of Islamic crowdfunding, inevitably we have to review the possibility to work on zakat, sadaqah, and also WAPs. Okay, and in which when we talk about obligatory charity, there are many other aspects to look at, or the voluntary, or even to review and to look or deep dive into Islamic endowments. So let me just share a few pointers as what I meant by crowdfunding principle align with very closely with this whole context and conversation of the Islamic guidelines and rules. So in here, we're talking about it is fully equitable, all right, for investment and equity model, not that. Okay, crowdfunding, it emphasizes on sharing risk. Why? Because we're talking about the crowd. When you put out a project, it can be social, all right. When the subject is true, transparent, with clear usage of the funds, all right, people are ready to come in. I will get on to describe a little bit more, but I give you the principal value first, okay? And things like, financing offers a much more affordable cost compared to traditional finance. One of the things that I like to emphasize, crowdfunding is not a replacement, but rather crowdfunding is actually a complement to the traditional finance. And it just fills the gap where traditional finance were unable to do. Can be many reasons, all right? Can be, their infrastructure is too heavy, all right? So when we talk about, crowdfunding, we generally opens the possibilities to have the campaigners to actually tell the story and have the donors to give the money, okay? Or in the context of investment, it is where the investors comes in with the idea of supporting the business or the sectors that they wanted to invest, and on the condition on full transparency. But because I'm only given 20 minutes, so this session I will not be able to deep dive into how this works, but I hope to be able to work with Atam Pradhan and Jula to probably call for another workshop to share more information with you. So when we talk about the crowd, generally we are talking about also you need to cater for full transparency. So how the full transparency comes in is where all the entire documentation comes in to prove that this is what the business needs, or this is what the social or the charity require. And more importantly is that you really get to engage with the donors. Donors get to engage with the campaigners, similarly in the investment model, okay? And the whole entire platform basically cater for full transparency and track record with full audit trails that, you can trace back right from the angle of, right from the start of registration all the way down to qualification before the project can even get posted onto the platform. Okay, and of course, last but not least, where we talk about market discipline, where we talk about, the market, meaning to say the crowd, all right, basically will be the one to actually do the validation to make sure that the right deals get funded. with full validation. Again, I want to emphasize, and also the full verification. And for Sinwatana, we serve in the Thai market. And right from day one, we actually focus a lot on the SDG aspect because we believe in this whole conversation on bridging the gap. And particularly being in Thailand, we serve this whole entire big conversation on sufficiency economy to ensure that we basically cater for where the underserved and the unbackables are. Just to give a little background, we started off in 2013 and we only got our license to operate in 2018. But since then, we have actually taken off with several projects. And we have also several joint ventures to serve the market demand. When we talk about joint ventures, we basically, and also the memorandum of understanding, is basically to expand the outreach, not just by ourselves, but also with the people in the community who want to participate and leverage on crowdfunding to serve the area that we could have missed out. And allow me to just quickly also mention crowdfunding. There are several types, okay? Social crowdfunding refers to donation and reward model. What do I mean by donation and reward model? Donation means a charity organization or a certain cause are being conducted and they seek for donation. And people give without expecting return. People give without, asking for anything. So it's a gift of love and a gift for change. Reward model is the conversation of I give the money in exchange of a product or in exchange of a service. So in the Halal community, there are a lot of amazing product invention innovation that have yet to be catered for. Sorry, my battery is running a little low. Let me just, sorry. You get, the product in return. Equity and debt security are all about investment. And when it comes to equity and debt, these are all already common practices that is happening in the Islamic platform in the world. So similarly for real estate, as well as the conversation on blockchain. These are just some of the payment gateway that we actually offer on the crowdfunding platform in Thailand. And these are our collaborators. We have Thailand Center Excellence Life Science and the Thai Nichi Institute. And also, recently we inked with Council for Humanitarian Networking of Shafqul Islam Office. And we have also Concordia and also Rocket Venture. So these are some of the projects that we have conducted during the COVID, where we supported the conversation of green mask. And this project itself is an initiative that is conducted in Thailand, where we talk about during COVID, where they were rushing for N95 masks, but Thailand Center Excellence Life Science basically came up with this whole invention, not just overnight, but they've been investigating on this, and in which during the COVID period, we raised about 2.8 million within 37 days. And another project, which is Food for Fighter. Food for Fighter itself is also during COVID. where we raised about 1.6 million with 354 donors. And in this conversation itself, it was a restaurant owner. When there was a lockdown, the restaurant owner actually took the initiative to call for all the other rest of the restaurants to come forward, and she raised a fund, 50 boxes of lunch or breakfast or dinner pack for the hospitals. So she actually supported the frontline people. And of course, moving forward, these are basically the investment for crowdfunding. This is one of the projects that have raised 18.6 million. This is actually a restaurant chain where they offer 50% of the company net profit back into the investors. And there is also Wealthy. This one is actually a Pico Finance that loan money for young people or elderly people who need just more money, like maybe something like 250 baht or 5,000 baht. So they cater for a group of very unbankable people. And so the existing project that is running on a platform is actually also a digital car matching platform where they are seeking for 21 million and offering 8.5%. So when we talk about crowdfunding, actually this is my last slide after pardon, is that there are a lot more that we can really offer to the Muslim community. And the context and conversation, like we were working on one project that yet to be launched, but it is actually to create and build 100 houses, affordable houses for down south. So there are a lot more that we can offer. And I really look forward to actually working with Ajahn Pradhan and the team to serve the Muslim community and having the right business partner to actually bring forth and have the platform actually certified to serve the Muslim community. So Ajahn Pradhan, that's what I have for today. Do I still have a lot of time?
Thank you very much. I think this is perfect time. Okay. Thank you for sharing the knowledge and about the crowdfunding and sharing interesting project and hopefully we can do more in terms of the Sharia crowdfunding in Thailand. Okay, I think all speaker very interesting and very respect the time. But because of we start around 10 to 15 minute delay, so I don't think we have much time for the questions. But I have some, let's say, one question in my inbox in the chat about the crowdfunding. So maybe I can have only one question for speaker. Then the rest of the question from streaming, organizing team might contact the speaker directly for the answer. So apologize me for this. The question from my inbox is, in your perspective, Hong Sin, what is the definition and the scope of the Islamic finance?
In my perspective of Islamic finance and crowdfunding, or just Islamic finance?
Yeah, Islamic finance in global view. What do you think? Well, as you are not Muslim and you are working on the Sharia crowdfunding, so maybe you can share your opinion.
It is okay. Islamic finance is not something that is rocket science. It's just that it is very people find. I like to say that there is a fear or concern on how to serve in this whole Islamic conversation. the very key thing is that I grew up in a Muslim environment, and I have a lot of friends. And when we talk about Islamic finance, I think like what Prof mentioned, that we need to learn, we need to educate ourselves, we need to be able to understand in order to be able to serve. You know, it is not just hopping in and say, oh, I want to do this without understanding. So that's the reason that why I don't just say, oh, we can do this or we can do that. We need.
Oh, okay. I think the signal from Hong Sin was lost. She was answering the very nice question from her heart, but sorry for losing the signal. Okay, not sure that she can connect back very soon. Then any other question? We still have like 2 or 3 minutes for the question from the organizing team. If you have any question from the one who are watching on Facebook or streaming YouTube, I think we can have one more question. Okay, so if there is no further question from the organizing team and from the streaming, I would like to thank you all the keynote speaker today, Professor Farida, Dr. Panat, Dr. Yusuf, and Ms. Hong Sin. She was left because of the signal. Thank you very much for joining. I think this is very fruitful knowledge and very interesting topic on the digital catalyst and resilience of the future of Halal industry. And thank you all the audience for participating in this session. And as the MC told you that we will have a 1 hour lunch break and duly prayer, and we'll join again at 2 p.m. I have a chat box that someone would like to talk to you, Professor Farinda. Maybe you can stay longer in the Zoom room. Okay, so thank you very much, everybody, and stay safe. Okay, thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you very much for a wonderful presentation. Thank you all speakers. Thank you moderator Dr. Paradon Suripong. Thank you very much. To all participants, I would like you to please complete the online evaluation form which scan the QR code on the right hand side of the screen. Okay, all right everyone. It is time for lunch break and Zuhri prayer, and the conference will resume at 2 p.m. I will see you in 1 hour and a half later. Thank you.